Okay, this is Titan from Clash of Clans, and I'm going to be telling you guys my strategy of farming, getting as much gold as possible, and obviously building your base up all the way to Town Hall 9, Town Hall 10. At the moment, as you can see, I'm Town Hall 8, which is it's not too far off. I'm getting there. I only started playing the game around about March this year. As you can see, I've got my 5 builders huts and a little bit spare gems. Basically, I don't really gem for anything, but lately I've had such a surplus of gold where I haven't been able to spend it quick enough. I've got all my builders building things, and then I've still got 6 million gold, so I've had to use gems to actually speed that up, and then buy walls and things like that just to get that gold going through. So the strategies I'm using seem to be working quite well. I know there's a lot of ones out there, and people have their different flair of doing things, but this is what works for me, and if you follow what I do, it'll work for you as well. You can easily make 3 million a day in raiding, 6 million if you're going to be playing it more, maybe even 7 or 8. Just depends on how much time you really have to play the game. So a lot of the building strategies that I do for building the armies involve quite quick armies, so you'll have armies pumping out every 15-20 minutes, sometimes even 10 minutes depending on how many troops you use for each battle. So if you're doing your raiding right, which I'll have a look at some of my raids, you should be getting at least 200k each raid. So if you do the math, that's about 200k every 15 minutes or so. So as you can see here, that's 3 minutes, 29 minutes ago, 39 minutes ago. As you can see, that's over, that's like 600k gold that I've got in that time. And of course, if you see the dragons there, I just pump dragons before I go to sleep at night, just because I've got so much extra up here that I just can't get rid of it all. So I just have some fun with some dragons in the morning. That's my little treat. So looking down here, you can basically see that it's just consistent raiding. Some of those ones might be tests and things like that. So as most of you guys know, if you have done farming in the past, sometimes you look at someone's base and you'll see a lot of resources available, but it won't show. It'll be bugged. It won't show any in the storages, and it won't show any in the mines and things like that. So you got to do a little bit of investigative work. Sometimes you got to send some dummy units in to see if it's in the mines, and like this one here that you see, that's one where I failed on it. I thought they were all in the mines, but they're all in the center, and it just wasn't viable. But look, losing trophies when you're farming is not a big deal. As you can see, I'm around the 12:45 mark, which is quite good for Town Hall 8. You can vary up from about 1300 to about 1100, and it's very easy to stay in that range. Generally, even when you're farming, you're still going to get about 1 star. That's just the way it works, and if you don't, then it's no big deal, because you'll see it's very easy to stay in that range. If you do find yourself getting higher, which is sometimes the case, like when I get to maybe 1300, maybe 1350, I might just put more emphasis on goblins on my army, and then I'll just drop trophies a little bit quicker. But if you look at my composition here, on my 4 barracks, this one I used to have my wall breakers and my barbarians. So my army composition basically tries to, when it's full, we'll try to have about 10 wall breakers, and 10 is quite important. I see a lot of people in the past who only have about 4 or 5 wall breakers, and oftentimes they can actually leave you stranded, especially when you get to the bases where they honeycomb, and even like mine where there's lots of little compartments. 5 wall breakers really doesn't do it, especially when you've got high level walls. You're going to use at least 2 wall breakers per each high level wall, and sometimes they get shot and things like that, or they just don't follow your directions and go around the other side, and so you always need backup ones. It's not a big deal. I'd much rather spend a few more troop capacity on 2 or 3 more wall breakers than having like an extra 6 archers, because if you're stuck behind a wall, you can have 30 archers or 40 archers, 1 mortar will take them all out. So wall breaker, 10 wall breakers, it's a good idea. Just do it, you'll thank me later. So with this here, I stack my wall breakers first if I need them, obviously, because if I stack them at the end, they won't get done. They'll just, my troop capacity will fill up and they'll just be outstanding. So it's a little bit sucks that you can't drag and drop your troops there, but I just have to delete the barbarians, put the wall breakers in front, and then put the barbarians in after. Other ones, it's quite simple. You got giants, just constantly queued up on the other one. No Dark Elixir troops. You've got archers just constantly queued up on this other one, and then you've got goblins on the other one. So you've got quite a versatile mix of all your tier 1 troops. For spells, look, I don't use spells. If you use spells when farming, you're kind of defeating the purpose. The whole point of farming is to get gold, so if you're spending gold like this on spells, it's really not necessary. I do use them as a backup if I've got a really juicy base, and often some big juicy bases have clan castle troops. If it's going to mean I won't get an extra 20,000 gold because of these clan castle troops or something, yeah, I might use a lightning spell or maybe even a rage spell, but very, very, very rarely, maybe 1 in 40 raids, I'll use a spell. Just really try not to use it because you basically got to subtract 20,000 gold from your earnings because you just spent that. So I try not to do that. As you can see, this is my base for farming too. It's quite effective. There's lots of other ones out there. I'm not going to say this is the best. I'm not going to really care if you have a different one that works for you, because I know there's a lot of ones out there. Part of having a farming base is a lot of psychological effect to it as well. So you basically, if you can see over here, I've got these dark barracks a little bit pulled away, so they don't know if there's bombs there or there's bombs in here and things like that. It's really making it difficult for them to say, oh, where's a good place to attack. That's the kind of idea that you want to have. You want to make it look so confusing for them or so intimidating for them that they don't even want to attack you in the first place. And then of course you want to have your town hall over here. Everyone knows that with farming, so you can just get some quick shields. But I found this on ClashofClansBuilder.com, which is actually really good for finding some bases. I know there's a lot of shit you got to sift through before you find some good bases, but this is a very similar one I found on there, which I use for this, so it's quite good. It doesn't really care about your elixir, because if you're farming, as you know, you just get an abundant amount of elixir. So my elixir things are sort of to protect my gold in a sense, especially if these sensing goblins are going to go for the elixir first, and hopefully my defenses will take them out before they get to the gold and the dark elixir, of course, which is also you need to protect quite well. What I want to run through just quickly, because I see a lot of people who don't really understand it, is the penalty for raiding with your town hall level. Now, some people may be familiar with it, but I see a lot that don't, and it's so important to realize not to upgrade your town hall until you've basically maxed out your base, or at least all your defenses. Sometimes you can upgrade before you've finished all the walls, but generally you should be finishing your walls roughly about the same time as you finish maxing out your base. And actually I'm a little bit behind on this base. My walls are a little bit behind getting into those level 8 walls, but that's right, I'll get there within without about 2 weeks. I'll probably finish all these walls, and that's without gems, so it's definitely doable. Walls are a pain in the ass, but you can do it if you farm. Okay, now talking about loot penalties, I think that's been changed around a bit, but judging by Clash of Clans Wiki and a few other sources, and the one that I run off, which seems to be fairly accurate, I don't know if they have changed it, but it's one to go by anyway, is basically the loot penalty of, I'll put it up on the screen here, so you got your town hall differences and your bonus penalty. So basically the larger difference in their person's town hall that you're raiding affects how much loot they have. So let's pretend they have 100,000 loot. If they're the same town hall as you, you can steal 100,000. Obviously it doesn't mean they have 100,000 in their storages, it means they have more than that, but as you can see in this graph here, you can take a certain percentage of their mines and their storages. But let's say you're one town hall level lower than him. Instead of getting 100,000, you'll get 110. So you'll get 110% more. And then 2, you get 150% more, or 3 or more town hall differences is 200%. So it really does add up. You're getting twice the amount. That's a good reason not to upgrade your town hall until you really have to. People think upgrading your town hall is a great thing, and it sort of is in a sense, but it handicaps you as well. It makes it a lot more difficult. It ups your difficulty. So you really want to make sure you're prepared for it, and that you can milk the most out of your town hall before you need to upgrade it. So please don't gem or just upgrade your town hall to level 10 and not address the rest of your defenses and things like that, because it'll make it real difficult for you. Basically, you'll have to be raiding level town hall 10 and town hall 9 for the rest of your defenses, which would be quite painful, very costly to do for your troops. It'll just take a lot longer. Please don't do it. Going through these loot penalties here, you've got your, as you can see, you got your available loot that you can choose from or that you can steal from your mines and your storages. So obviously the most ideal scenario is someone to have their storages full. Now, as I said earlier, they can bug, so sometimes you can see 200,000 loot available, and it's like, oh well, his mines are empty and his gold storage is empty. Where is this? So that's sometimes where you have to send those investigative archers or goblins in just to quickly just send one or two in that will immediately attack the mine, and make sure you have a look at the gold and see how much goes down. If it's going down by about 500 or 1,000 a hit, then there's a good chance that most of his gold's in the mines, which is kind of what you want. It's a lot easier to take them in the mines. But generally, after a while, you'll get good at seeing it. Sometimes the mines and the elixir pumps bug, but the dark elixir pump doesn't. So you can have a look at that glass. I'll put it up on the screen here. This glass jar on top of the dark elixir drill, and if that's full, sometimes it gives you an indication that he hasn't collected his dark elixir pump, and that also means he usually hasn't collected his mines as well. So much you can use that as an indicator, but they do need to fix that. It sometimes gets difficult to tell where his items are located. Make sure you check out the next video where we look at the process of raiding, how to raid, who to raid, and how to get all the resources.